So first of all, indeed, thank you very much for inviting us to take part in this conversation. Of course, I have to agree with you. We are not a technical organization working precisely on glass recycling and glass management, but we are still very much interested in island sustainability and circular economy in particular. I may start with a short introduction about who we are. Perhaps this is easier. So just for those who don't know us, actually, the Islands Commission is one of the 6 geographical commissions of the CPMR, which is a network of around 150 regions from European member states and beyond. We also have members from non-EU EU member states, and we campaign in favor of more balanced development of European territories in general. As Islands Commission, we actually involve 18 European regional island authorities, which are located in different sea basins. So we cover the Mediterranean, the Baltic Sea, the Atlantic, but also the Indian and Pacific Oceans, including indeed also some outermost regions. And in general, we advocate, let's say, to get a better recognition in EU policies of the specificities of islands. So broadly speaking, we require a place-based approach and a tailored, let's say, approach and solutions for islands. I'll explain a little bit more during my presentation. We, of course, work together with our members also to represent and defend their interests in specific policy areas. And in particular, we are very much interested in cohesion, transport, energy, maritime affairs, and of course, climate and environment. And in this sense, also in our mission, we strongly promote interregional cooperation, as you were mentioning at the beginning, between islands, but also with other organizations and island-based organizations, which is our strong added value, actually, in general in our activities. And of course, there's no need to repeat that sustainability in general represents a cross-cutting issue for islands, and it's indeed very important for our work. Now, moving to the core issue of today's discussion, and after having heard a lot about really technical details, I would like to present a little bit the vision and the priorities when it comes to sustainability for our members and our organization. So broadly speaking, let's say. I spend a couple of words, first of all, also on the island's specificities. So as we all know, island economies are characterized by a high vulnerability. But despite this, we are realizing also more and more that the transition for sustainable and circular economy models can really make a big difference and turn, I would say, these some of the fragilities of these territories also into concrete assets. And this is something also that many European national, but also regional and local governments are little by little understanding. And over the last year, they have adopted also circular economy strategies that are better adapted to their specific needs. Indeed, islands economies start from a sort of disadvantaged position if we think of their additional costs in production, transport, logistics, etc. But also if we think on, of course, in the high dependence on the mainland in this sense. And to all these, we cannot forget also the high vulnerability to climate change and extreme weather events that also often eat these territories and have severe repercussions also in their economy. So precisely because of these same specificities, on the other hand, they can also be great laboratories for innovative solutions. So that's something that I think it's really important for our discussion. And I'd like also to highlight that the sustainable management in general of the limited natural resources in islands, this is something crucial to maintain a virtuous economy in these territories. And it includes, of course, a specific consideration of land, water, raw material, and their sustainable management, of course. At the same time, we also try to promote in a number of activities the nature-based solutions and in general circular economy models that can be helpful to reduce, let's say, the dependence, as I was explaining, on the mainland and on the external suppliers from islands. To, let's say, better now focus more precisely on waste management in islands, we need to understand that this represents, first of all, a major spatial planning challenge, as we were seeing from the previous examples presented by your colleagues, because these territories have limited landfilling capacity, of course, and also a lack of economies of scale for the collection and the treatment of the waste. So here, circular economy can play indeed a key role. We know this from experience from our members. But among other aspects also, sometimes waste management can often be an important opportunity to foster employment in islands, and the development of initiatives in this sense can indeed make the difference in these territories, as it's demonstrated by the figures in general. And finally, I just wanted also to make a point on the link we were discussing briefly in the panel discussion just right now, on the link between tourism and waste management in islands. I think this is crucial. Perhaps it's not the case for all islands, but in many islands, the tourism is a crucial sector for islands, and it also implies a lot of high seasonality in the whole process, and it's also sometimes a high dependent on climate sensitive activities. So this is something that we need to consider. And the shift towards circular models, let's say, associated to tourism is essential. So let's say that this can provide effective solutions for improving water and waste management, but also using, as I was mentioning, nature-based tourism options, promoting ecotourism solutions, and of course also with an important focus on mobility. So it's a lot of different activities linked to tourism that are somehow also to be taken in due account when it comes to the waste management to some extent. And now I'd like to explain a little bit from our perspective as CPMR and Association of EU Regions, and particularly as Islands Commission, what we do. Well, we do pay special attention to any funding and investment opportunities that can be of interest to our members, and of course aligned to their priorities and needs also when it comes to sustainability and circular economy, etc. And in this regard, we can say that especially with the launch of the Green Deal, the EU has indeed provided and made available a plurality of funds. It has overall improved, let's say, the assistance and the initiatives to accelerate the green transition across the EU. Also put into the green investments in general as a core of its financial plans. So both in the multi-annual financial framework for the 2021 and 27 period, but also in national recovery and resilience plans. But on the other hand, even if, of course, we understand there is a lot of attention on sustainable transition, and it becomes more and more a priority, the issue is that sometimes it's a general approach with no specific focus on islands, with some few exceptions, of course. And as Islands Commission, we do stress that for a successful sustainable transition across the EU, we require adequate green investments for islands. And that's why actually we try to help our members in this process, or at least to facilitate and to circulate information on the possibilities they have precisely for islands in this field. Just one of our main objectives is this sort of exchange of knowledge and good practices that could be done through different means and through different initiatives. One of those is, of course, monitoring and making good use of funding programs that are directing in this way. also together with other networks of regions and of islands. In these latest months, we have seen programs such as Horizon Europe or LIFE that had specific calls on the topic of circular economy, bioeconomy sector. So, for instance, there was an Horizon Europe precisely focusing on this topic that just closed. And as Islands Commission, we submitted a specific proposal on developing circular economy solution in the tourist sector. That now this call is closed. But there's another example, for instance, with the LIFE sub-program on circular economy and quality of life. And we are aware that the specific call on the topic of circular economy will be actually open very soon this month. And finally, also, I like to mention that there is Interreg as a program. We are aware that Interreg Europe just launched a new call with a strong focus on green priorities, including circular economy. And last but not least, there's also an Interreg Euromed call that is going to be launched, I think, in June, with a specific focus for strategic territorial projects that will be targeting actually rural, mountain, and island. So I invite you also to double check all these opportunities because precisely in this Interreg Euromed call, there will be a focus on waste prevention and reduction. So just to close, I don't want to extend myself very much, but I just wanted to mention that we indeed participated in a number of projects in the past and also currently at the moment on sustainable tourism. So with a strong link also on the sustainable planning of tourism activities, which somehow is linked to the sustainable use of and management of natural resources. Ecotourism sometimes is a part of the objectives and the planning of these projects. We are at the moment involved in a new project, which is Nature for Climate Change, which is about the link between sustainable tourism and, of course, climate change adaptation and mitigation. And then just to move on other type of activities, of course, we try to provide a number of opportunities for our members also to be involved in sustainable practices, both at European level, more on a bilateral cooperation or multilateral cooperations. This could be a number of different activities ranging from involving them in policy positions that might have been an impact also on the future EU policy making, let's say, which is the case, for instance, for the recent nature restoration law discussions. We are also trying to follow all initiatives linked to sustainable tourism at European level and engaging our members, of course, in this process. But we also supported some specific projects and programs of exchanges, and overall, we try to facilitate best practices exchange and sharing, as I was mentioning earlier. So I think I might stop here because I see we are running a little bit out of time, but I'm of course available for any questions.